evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have with us a very special guest. We have drummer Away with us of Voivod. Welcome to the show, Away.
Thanks for having me.
So, Away, you've been with the band since the beginning. What were some of those early days of Voivod like?
Well, it was actually very exciting because when we formed the band, as soon as we started writing material and released the first album on Metal Magdalene in '84, there was an explosion of thrash metal going with Metallica, Slayer, Creator, Celtic Frost, Possess, and so it was amazing to be part of exploding movement in our early 20s. It was a really great time.
And now you're about to release your 14th album called The Wake. How would you say the band has progressed over the years?
We tried to explore on every album, so it really went all over the place, from strange thrash metal to more progressive rock, end of the 80s, early 90s. Then we went back to the hardcore roots in the mid-90s, sort of went into the stoner rock territory with Jason Newsted in the years 2000. Now we're sort of heading back to the progressive mode with The Wake and the last EP, Post Society. The songs are more intricate and there are lots of musical layers. We recorded in the studio, and so we're really trying to again explore as much as we can musically and lyrically and all that.
And now, who are some of your drummer influence? I mean, how would you describe your style of drumming?
It really went at first when I was like 12 or 13, it was Ringo Starr, and then right after Kiss, Peter Criss, and then my sister's boyfriend showed up with like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and then I realized I had a lot of work to do, and also the punk rock movement really influenced me because there were lots of thumb beats, tribal beats, and so the Pistols and the Damned and all that stuff really influenced me. And also tons of obscure prog rock like Van der Graaf Generator and krautrock rock like Can and Faust really influenced my playing. Rush, of course, Neil Peart, and then, but it's really like when I heard Motorhead, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest that I decided to follow that path of heavy metal, and then of course next thing you know, you have Venom, and so it just and then tons of people listening to Motorhead and Venom form bands, and all of a sudden everybody's playing really fast. I must say that the hardcore like Discharge really influenced us as well. The D-beat, but it actually came from Motorhead, that beat, but it was just a step faster, and everybody really all of a sudden was playing faster, and probably the band DRI influenced a bunch of people in the metal community also.
Now, there's a lot of jazz infused into this album. Do you play a lot of jazz, like, for leisure? And do you have, like, favorite jazz artists or anything like that?
I'm a big fan of, Return to Forever, Mahavishnu, but my jazz style comes from the band more of a prog rock approach, like Van der Graaf Generator and Robert Wyatt from Soft Machine. That's pretty much where I picked it up, and also Terry Bozzio from Frank Zappa really was a huge influence on me. But however, Chewie, our guitar player, teaches jazz and teaches music in college. So he has a huge jazz influence, mainly from Alan Hawesworth.
And so today we're here to talk about your new album, The Wake. So how long did it take to write this album, and how do you all go about the writing process, Away?
It actually took a long time because we wanted it to be like a long story with different parts coming back but rearranged, and then Snake decided to write the lyrics accordingly, and so it took about 2 years. We wrote parts of it on tour because we've been touring a lot the last couple of years, so we set up a small digital studio in the back of the bus and worked on the album, and we started tracking last fall when we came back from Europe, and we finished tracking early this spring. So finally it's coming out on September 21st, but it was a lot of work, quite a puzzle actually. It's very intricate. The album is very intricate.
And so what is this album about a little bit lyrically? I mean, is there some kind of theme to it or story behind it?
Actually, Snake wrote the story as we moved along with the song writing. So he could tell you more about the story, but I know that it starts with a catastrophe that and some type of awakening that transforms all social structures and politics, and there's like at one point it becomes very spiritual, and it ends like it's pretty intergalactic at the end. So I think Snake went all out and tried to touch as many subjects as he could, but it still expresses our fear of the destruction of this planet, as most Voivod albums.
And you ended it with a 12-minute long song.
It was supposed to be 2 or 3 minutes and instrumental at the beginning, and while we were tracking, Chewie kept coming with new parts, and we decided to include parts of every song but rearrange into the final, and then Snake decided to rearrange parts of bits of lyrics there and there throughout the album onto the final as well. So we were tracking the album and writing the final, and it ended up being like 12 or 13 minutes. It's a bit of also of a salute to Jack Luminous from The Outer Limits, an album from 1993.
And a lot of times when the songs are that long, they get kind of boring, but it doesn't get boring. So, I mean, there's enough to this song. It has a couple of different elements to it that it's maybe long, but it's not boring for the listener. That is for sure, for a closing song.
Yeah, well, if we decide to play it live, it won't be boring for us to try to remember it for sure, but it does go all over the place every couple of seconds.
So did you guys record it locally? Did you record this album locally?
We recorded it. It's outside of Montreal. It's a bit in the woods, but the setup is wonderful. It's where we did all the songs for the Post Society EP with Francis Perron. He's a friend of Rocky and Chewie, and a very good engineer, and has a wonderful studio. So we decided to do The Wake there because we were very pleased with the sound of Post Society and the response it had with people listening to Voivod. So the first single, Obsolete Beings, it had a very, very good impact so far, a lot of views and all that, so it's positive for us.
So why did you guys choose Obsolete Beings to be your first single for everybody to hear?
It's the first song of the album. It's also sort of a transition between Post Society and The Wake, lyrically and musically, and it's sort of an introduction to the album also. It's actually the least complicated song on the album, so it's a good introduction, and from then on it goes into prog rock territory, so the next singles will be more intricate.
Now, you also designed the album cover as well, so tell us a little bit about what the album cover depicts.
I was asking Snake about his story, and he kept telling me that many songs talked about the aftermath of this, the aftermath of that. And so I decided to, it's sort of a flash that I had a vision about, where I decided to depict every one of us as a voivod holding a vigil, and you say that, a vigil? A wake for a dying planet. So that's what I tried to express, and so we wanted everything to be very cohesive, lyrically, visually, and musically. So I really tried to express what the music and lyrics felt like. I did the art while the mixes were coming to me. It's really like a whole.
And now, do you do other art projects as well, Away?
Yes, I do a lot of art for other bands, and book covers, mainly books about metal, and also I'm part of another band called Talk Ross, with Rob from Amebix and John from Misery. It's more of a international band, and we did 2 albums on Relapse, but sharing a Dropbox folder.
Now, is this album that you're doing with Voivod being, I mean, how is it being released? Is it being released on a couple of different formats? It's coming out as a single CD, but also as a double vinyl, and there is also a special edition, media book CD edition. It's a double CD. It comes with the Post Society EP, and one of the 2 shows we did on the 70,000 tons of metal this year as well. Oh, so did you do all the art for all that stuff too?
I did for the media book and the vinyl. I did artwork for every song, so one piece of art for every song.
Oh, nice. Now, have you guys played any of the new music live yet?
Yes, we played Obsolete Beings at 3 or 4 festivals so far, and one of which was in our hometown.
Oh, nice.
At the exact same spot where we did our very first show 35 years ago in June '83, and it was almost to the day too. And we filmed the show, and so we included that footage on the Obsolete Beings video we just released.
And so what's going on now for the rest of the year for the band, Away?
We have on Saturday a festival, the Psycho Fest in Las Vegas. Then another festival, SOS Festival in Winnipeg, on August 25th, I believe. But it's really early in September that it's going to start for us in Europe in terms of worldwide tour. We're going to do a long European tour, and then next year we'll go all across North America, and South America, Asia, and everywhere we can.
So you're going to be pretty busy.
Oh, yeah. Which is great.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, absolutely. So what are the best sites for people to learn more about the band and to keep up with you and all the tours and all these shows you're doing all over the world?
Oh, the best online outlets?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I guess the Facebook page, Instagram. We do have a voivod.com that's being updated right now with all the new stuff from the Wake and the upcoming shows. And so that should be online very soon. Right now, it is voivod.com that needs to be really renewed and etc. But yeah, the Century Media website and everywhere. There's info. Right now we have a great momentum. There seem to be a lot of
So there you guys have it, the new album from Voivod called The Wake, out September 21st on Century Media Records. In a way, thank you so much for taking the time to do this little interview with us today, telling us about the band and the album, and all the best to you with the new album.
Thank you very much.